Looks like 2022 will be off to a great start with a fight between Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou. But fans are dying to know whether their personal grudges will come in between this fight or not. What does Ciryl Gane think about this? Who has a better chance of winning? To find out about all this, make sure to watch this video till the end to not miss out on anything. Is the Frenchman a slight bit worried about his competition levels amping up with each passing match? Well, based on the way he's talking and of course fighting, no. And that's a good thing, because for someone from France where MMA just got legal last year, God knows how big of a jackpot he hit when he signed a deal with the UFC's heavyweight division 3 years back, and the way he fights in each match really takes his reputation to another level. With defeating many like Junior Dos Santos and just recently Derek Lewis, everyone is eager to find out what this MMA fighter has up next in his sleeve. And all thanks to Dana White, Gane is up against none other than Francis Ngannou, also known as the Predator in UFC, and everyone wants to know whether this French lad will be able to beat Ngannou like he has been beating every other tough competitor since his debut in the UFC. When asked about whether he's scared of fighting with Francis Ngannou or not, Gane replied that he isn't scared at all, and it's not as if he thinks that Ngannou is weak or anything like that, because he got to know how hard Ngannou can really hit when the two trained together a few months back in France. He just thinks that Lewis was also the one that was really hard to beat, as he's had a big knockout power too, but inside the ring, none of that matters, as two heavyweight fighters are fighting after all, so even he can fight like that too. So fighting and defeating Ngannou isn't scaring him even the slightest. Are there any more surprises for Gane to give out to UFC fans? Based on his career in the UFC so far, it sure looks like it. This is something that every UFC fan will agree with, because ever since Gane has made his debut, he has delivered something different in each of his matches, and he's understood his competitors like none other. Gane also said himself that he's not a good fighter nor a good athlete, but he's someone who has a great fighting IQ level, and that's what's made him beat every competitor so far in the UFC. And like other MMA fighters, he's never for once said anything related to their game. Gane is just focused on his matches, and with the birth of his second daughter recently, he isn't really looking for drama either. He even accepts that Ngannou is really one of the best, and how powerful he really is as a fighter. During the time when the two trained together, Gane said that even in simple sparring, Ngannou hits really hard, and in the end, he's just happy that he has been set to fight with someone like him, because he likes to be challenged all the time, and this time he's excited to be fighting with someone who has always remained in the top 5 of the UFC. Now, everyone knows about the little drama that the two had between them due to Gane getting coached by Fernand Lopez, who was Ngannou's previous coach, but the two have made it clear that the fight will only be professional. No matter what happens, one thing is clear: Ciryl Gane has given many hints that slowly but definitely he'll make his way to the top. The UFC 270 will be off to a banging start for sure, and even the thought of this match is passing jitters down everybody's back. Now on to Francis Ngannou. Is he looking forward to defeating Gane? We all know how much Gane is quickly becoming the much talked about fighter in the UFC, but we can't forget the one and only Francis Ngannou now, can we? One thing that has always been constant in Ngannou's career is his title for being the hardest puncher ever in the history of UFC. And trust us when we say this, that the ones who fought with him will all agree with this too. After all, he didn't get named the Predator just like that. The UFC heavyweight champion has been quite vocal about a lot of things throughout his career, and with this much-awaited fight happening soon, things are about to get real on another level. But where others expected him to say something about his next fight with Gane, Francis has said he's not really scared of this fight, and it's just a regular match for him. The 35-year-old MMA fighter, who's been winning fights 5 times in a row, would of course like to maintain his winning streak, but he seems pretty confident that he'll end up beating Gane in the end. In one of his interviews, he said that this fight isn't exciting him that much, and that he'd want to fight Jon Jones instead. Not that Francis is in any way saying that Gane isn't good competition, but he feels that Gane isn't as much competition than Jones would be for him. In the end, he knows that the match will be a great one, as Gane's a good athlete after all, and based on his previous performances, Gane isn't one to be underestimated. Is Ngannou holding in what he really feels about this match? Francis is not the one who's known to keep things bottled up in him, and he always says what's on his mind, but fans can't stop to wonder why he can't be that excited for the match. With the previous little drama between Ngannou and Gane, it sure looks as if Ngannou is not looking for any more drama and just wants to get done with this fight already. Where on one hand Gane is looking forward to beating Ngannou, the same isn't the case for him, and based on the way he's talking, it looks as if he wants to be done with the fight. Recently, Ngannou also shared his opinions on the pay range that fighters get in UFC. This has become quite the controversy, and with UFC's very best coming up to speak about this, it caused quite the uproar. Recently at a boxing exhibition, YouTuber Logan Paul made $20 million, and that made everyone in the UFC question their skills. Francis took to Twitter and said, "What are they doing wrong? Because it's crazy to think that a YouTuber who's never won a professional fight before could make $20 million by just being in a boxing exhibition." In comparison to that, Francis Ngannou's made less than $1 million in his last fight, and also said that the main main source of income really comes from the bonuses from each match. And based on this, anyone can say that Francis Ngannou is not the one to hold in something. So why does it look as if he's not really expressing his emotions related to this match fully? Don't go anywhere, as you're about to find out who has a better chance of winning this much-awaited fight. Now onto the real deal. Who has a better chance of winning? This is something that everyone wants to know, because this match is not like the other ones and has become someone who's basically a rising star in the UFC at the moment, and someone who's always remained one of the best in the league. And Ngannou has always remained in the top 5 of UFC throughout his career and has beaten some really tough guys along his way. But on the other hand, no one can underestimate Gane and his crazy MMA skills. He recently beat Lewis and became the interim heavyweight champion, and will now fight for the title for being the greatest MMA fighter on the planet early in 2022, when he'll fight with Francis Ngannou, who's also the undisputed champion. So even though Gane is not that old in the UFC world yet, his performances in his previous matches show how much potential he has in him to make his way to the top. Now you may be wondering that for someone who just started his career 3 years back, shouldn't he be a little worried about fighting with someone who's regarded as the most powerful puncher of all time? Like, surely there's a reason for Francis being named the Predator, right? But Gane is not worried at all. He recently defeated Derek Lewis and became the interim heavyweight champion, moving up in the UFC rankings ahead of Lewis, so that might tell you why his confidence is this high right now, and why him defeating Lewis is becoming an even bigger topic than it already is, also because Lewis beat Ngannou back in 2018, and for Gane being put against that very same fighter is making everyone impatient to see what's about to come in this fight. So mark your calendars for January 22nd, 2022, as though one way or the other, history will be made. So who do you think will win this fight? Make your guesses in the comments down below, and do tell us what you'll like to see next. And before you go, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. We'll see you in the next one.